All right, doing a update. A little late on this month, but I've been busy. So just kind of do a quick overview. I don't want it to be too long. Basically, I've been potting everything up, so it's quite a mess. Everything was like stacked back there for whenever I was at Las Vegas, and I had a plastic mat on the ground to kind of collect all the water and hold on to it for a bit, and you know, fingers crossed that things didn't dry out. And I think I only lost like one thing, and I don't even think it was because it dried out. I think it was just it wasn't doing super hot. But yeah, so kind of going through all the red jabos and stacking them over there, and if they need to be potted up, they get potted up. A couple of them I didn't pot up, even though they kind of need it, but they don't really need it right away, so I'm just lazy. I have a million of them, not too worried about it. They can kind of be root bound for a while, and then you just gotta figure them out. But it is best to pot them up. But I find that if you keep planting every seed from every fruit you eat, you end up with like you know this pile. This is like I think like a 72 cell tray of reds, and I planted them last year sometime, and I've just been completely neglecting them in there. And this is like fully shaded, so they just exist. They should probably be in like a half-gallon pot at this point, but they're not. They're in these little cell trays, and they're probably rooted out the bottom, and I gotta figure that out. But yeah, but let's look around. Oh yeah, so the grafts that I did from the scions that Virginia Fruit Grower gave to me seem like they're progressing pretty well. The one that's doing the best is, correct me if I'm wrong, I labeled them with how they were labeled on the scions when you gave them to me. But so that's a Novak Vetrantha, I'm pretty sure. That's the one that's just doing fantastic. And I have these, what I'm pretty sure were the Novak Caulifloras. That I'm not sure if this one's taken or not. It kind of looks a little funky, but it was like a slingshot shape, and I took two separate cuttings and grafted them onto these red rootstocks that I had. But this cauliflower is taken, it looks like. So it's kind of funny. It's cauliflower on red. Usually you do it the other way around, but this is what I had to graft onto. And this is the Vetrantha rosa, kind of same thing. I had enough material to graft onto this in like a slingshot shape, so we tried that. I don't see anything pushing out yet, so hopefully it took. We'll see. And then the other one is this. Was it the Ariana cross with the Vetrantha? And it looks like it's starting to push out at the top here, just a little bit. So give them some time. I know it's been kind of hot and then cold and then hot and then cold, so I'm sure once it is steadily warm, they'll probably explode out of that. But yeah, other things, anything interesting? I know I did a video on my Scarlet, and there's a flower down there. I'm like 99% sure that's a flower right there. And there's like other little flowers popping up all over it. So, how big is this one? Here's hand for scale. So these ones are known for flowering early, like the red. So I'm not surprised. It's about larger than a drumstick in size. Like it's about the size of my thumb in thickness down there. So, yeah. So I'm guessing it'll probably flower. I don't know if it'll set a fruit or not, but what happens is you'll get one flower, may or may not set fruit, and then give it a couple months, and then all of a sudden you'll have tons and tons of fruit or flowers all over it. Not quite as many as my red has right now, but a pretty good amount. And then it just gets more and more and more as the plant ages. But I'm trying to see if there's anything else interesting out here. Yeah, my Garcinia macrophylla finally started poking up out of the ground or out of the pot. So I stepped them up a bit. I had like 5 seeds, I want to say, and these are the ones that are finally germinated and ready to push out leaves. So there they are down there. You can kind of see the green in the dirt. Let's get a little closer. Yeah. So supposedly those are a smaller form, Garcinia macrophylla. It's Garcinia AFF macrophylla. Doe from Bellamy. I think it was from Bellamy. It was either Bellamy or Anderson Tropicals. I go back and look at who I got it from, but they think it's a macrophylla. Might not be. But let's see what else. This is that Grimmel Sabra hybrid. It actually, I think this is a deciduous tree, so when it got cold, it dropped all of its leaves, and they all came back. I think that's pretty typical for Grimmels. Oh, and I have a grafted Sabra that I got from Adam at Flying Fox Fruits. And this is that one, if anyone's been watching his videos or his live streams lately, it's potentially a hybrid. Don't know for sure if it is, but apparently it came from Pine Island. But you can kind of see this new growth right there. When it flushes and it's like fresh, it's like very, very vibrant pink. Whereas usually on the Sabra, and you can see the leaves are a little bigger on these too. I'll go out to my one in the yard here in a second. Let's see, for comparison, here's my thumb over this leaf. You know, it's kind of about the same size as my thumb. Now let's go outside. Oh, I've got tons of strawberries, which I need to eat. They're starting to ripen up too fast, and they kind of go quick once they start getting ripe. Let's see. I've got a little cardinal who's made a nest inside my finger limes right there, which is kind of cool. I took a picture of the eggs just to see if there was any action going on in there, and yeah, she's protecting that nest. But here's a normal Sabra. You can see the new growth definitely has like that kind of nice pink like transition. It kind of starts out like that and then turns green, and the leaves are a lot smaller on this one, so there's definitely something different about it. And again, like you can go back and look at some of Adam's live streams from like a week or two ago. I want to say before, like a week, like February 21st, around that time frame, he had a good live stream, and it's saved on his channel that shows the big tree that it's grafted from. But I know I'm a little behind on the Sabra game. Like I have a lot of reds, but you know, having a Sabra is nice, especially if it's fruiting, because you can make your own rootstock, and you only need, you know, a seed for like a year and a half before it starts, you know, being something you can graft onto. But just general overview of the yard, things are starting to pop back in. Like my fig here is really taking off. I think there's already some fruits on it too. They kind of kick into high gear. Yeah, there's some right there. This is a celestial fig. I don't seem to have a problem with nematodes with this variety in my yard in this spot. So that's kind of awesome that it's doing that well. I'm gonna guess because they're sensitive to the nematodes. I'm gonna guess this thing is gonna last forever, but that's okay. I'll just put something else there. And I mean, there's these jackfruits right here that I planted that are just doing pretty dang well. That'll probably, I'm gonna guess they'll fill in this spot. So, yeah, the Quimuk's looking good. It looks like it's getting ready to flush out new growth. I think really a lot of the trees don't do much until it starts raining, and so like the bananas are kind of slow right now. They're still thrashed from the hurricane. What else? Yeah, my blueberries are popping in. I put this in the ground for the first time last year. I didn't really know how to take care of them when I first got them. They've been harder for me than Jabos because they required a bit more acidity. So it took it a while for me to acclimate them to the soil here, and I've been using the Hollytone on them pretty regularly to keep the acid down, or the pH down. I've got another blueberry here. This is the like pink lemonade one, some little fruits on it. Got it for like $3 or whatever at a Lowe's in the was it like the off-season bin. So this is just kind of a why not thing. And I thought I killed it, but I think it was just a little shocked from me putting it in the ground at that time of the year, and it's come back completely. It was like a twig and just completely new growth. And it's right next to this, let's see, this doesn't look super great here. Yeah, some of the new growth on this didn't look that great. Maybe it needs a little bit of water in here. Let's see. Yeah, I'll hit this with the hose. This is the Plinia oblongata. Took the cold really well. This kind of damaged growth was new growth that it had occurred shortly before the cold. So it doesn't look super hot, but this thing is taking it as well as the Sabra in the ground. So potential good new root stock. Let's see, the Luke's over here, still not much action on that, but still green, so I'm not worried about it. We've got some new growth on the Achacha all around. I was worried about this after the hurricane, but not so much worried about it anymore. Although we had a windstorm come by, it looks like it knocked off some of the leaves. Dang it. My yuzu had bloomed. It looks like it's recovering from whatever issue it was having. Yeah, we got lots of little yuzus there. This isn't like a typical tree you see in Florida. People usually grow like Meyer lemons. These little Garcinias in the ground here, they're looking a little toasty. I don't know if that's cold damage or what, but we'll see if they come through. Those are those Pacuries. There's another one in here. It's looking a little more green than that one, so maybe that might be damage from the sun. We'll see, because that one's got a little bit of protection. This lemon drop here, it's pushing out a bunch of new growth. Finally, like if you go back and look at my videos, it was a little messed up because the root ball fell apart on it, and it had to recover from that. And yeah, but it looks like it's figured itself out, and we'll see how it looks at the end of the year. Mangoes, I've got one lemon zest left on it. Looks like the black mold that gets on this stuff took out some of it. I know the lemon zest is kind of prone to that, but this one looks like it's probably going to hold. I was going to cull most of the fruits on that anyways. Here's this yellow jawbo. It's pushing out a bunch of new growth. Come through here. But the Valencia Pride this is the first time it's really actually set a good crop on it. And we got some big mangoes already forming. Now this is a big tree, but I'm going to try and keep it contained to the yard. We'll see what happens, but if it gets too out of control, I'll just top work it to something else. Probably orange sherbet, which also has a bunch of fruit on it. Let's see. The Rolenia that I had in the ground, I did a scratch test on it. It's kind of been declining after the hurricane. It was green when I did the scratch test on it, but I don't know if it's just in the process of continuing to die. I don't see any new growth on it, but we'll find out. This rainforest plum is a little burnt up looking. Keep an eye on that. Might have to dig it up and put it somewhere else, back in a pot or whatever. But I think I might just let it go for a bit. I put a Plinia coronata Otto Anderson in the ground here. That's probably going to look a little burnt up for a bit, just to get acclimated. I don't know if that's burn damage or if a worm came in and started eating the bottom of it, but I think it's sunburn. It'll figure itself out. So I got one there. We'll come back in 30 years and see if it has fruit on it, but let's see. Avocados are blooming. Here's the orange sherbet fruit set. Like, this thing has like no disease on it at all. I don't spray my mangoes. I just don't want that crap in my food. But this one seems to be disease free for the most part. The lemon zest, we'll see how that fares over time. But Ross Sapote is looking good. These mangosteens over here, the seashore, are pushing out a bunch of new growth. And I think the wind burnt it. We had a pretty heavy windstorm with that cold front that came through. and it was pushing out new growth, and ever since then it's kind of looked a little funky. This could also be insect damage. I know I've seen that before, but looks like they're getting a little sunburnt too, because I know the sun, like in the wintertime, is more over there, and then it comes over here, and like midsummer it'll be right there, and then it'll start going back. So some of these plants will probably look a little trashed for a bit until they acclimate again. Took out my dragon fruit post over here. I still have the dragon fruit in the ground. It's not doing too hot, but I'll probably take some cuttings from that. But I put a Myrcearia glazioviana cabaludeo variety, however you pronounce that, in its place. And you know, if this red ring for lime here doesn't make it, which it looks like it's having a hard time. I don't know if it's because there's too much sunlight here and I just can't handle that, or it's really got the greening hitting it real bad. I don't know if it's greening or leaf miner that's made it look bad. It could have just been the soil here was not good, but it's like oozing sap too, so that's usually not a good sign on a tree. It's been just slowly declining. I'm not going to be too upset by it though, because this new growth looks pretty good. So I don't know, we'll see. I keep knocking back the rootstock from trying to grow back. So maybe I just let the rootstock grow back and I graft something better onto it. Let's see. What else? Ice cream beans are going crazy. I had a bunch of star fruit on my star fruit too, and they're definitely getting better, but they have like a really like bitter astringency to them. I don't know if it's like a nutrient deficiency or I just got unlucky with this tree. I don't know if it's a seedling or if it was a named variety. I know I got it from a nursery. I just can't remember. I never had a label for it, or I think the label just said star fruit, so it may have just been some random seedling. But it's a really pretty tree. So it's pushing out a whole bunch of new growth. It's the best it's ever looked. So we'll give it some more time. If it never makes a good fruit, we'll start grafting some better varieties onto it. But let's take a look at the Cambuca. At least the in-ground Cambuca. I'm expecting to see, yeah, so it's been warming up. We got a bunch of new growth. It kind of stagnates around like December through February, and then once the warm weather hits back up, it starts to kind of wake up, and then once it rains, it really kicks off. So if you remember, I go back like a year ago, probably January last year in my videos, you'll see this thing. I believe it was like right here. So this is our central leader, and I believe it's doubled in height, and the leaves look pretty good on it. They're a little yellow on top, but I think that's just from the cold. I'm just looking at it, seeing if there's anything crazy going on, but it looks pretty good to me. You know, I think if anyone's interested in this tree, like, just go ahead and plant one, because it's going to take a while. But if you're in 9B, you know, give it a little, like, put it in full sun, but you know, give it a little bit of shade in the afternoon. It'll appreciate it. Seems to do pretty well for me. And you know, we're protected kind of on, you know, two sides from, you know, pretty bad wind, right? So I mean, I guess we got the oak trees back here too, so that's something to consider as well, where, you know, if the wind is coming from this way, you know, the tree's protected. If it's coming from that way, the fence is protecting it. You know, we've got the oak canopy behind me to kind of reduce the thrashing from the wind during a hurricane. And that seemed to do pretty well for most of my trees. Really, most of the damage from any of my trees from the hurricane were, like, obviously the loquat got knocked over, but it's kind of exposed, right? You know, the screen, the pool cage doesn't really do much to protect it. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, I've got some more reds that I've planted in the back there. Oh, I know, this is interesting. Let's go over here first. We'll start from the left and go to the right, and then we'll work our way around to the front. I've got this pomelo seedling here that looks like trash, but it gets really dry right here. And I know it's having a hard time getting established. It's just a seedling. I've got another one over there, which is much smaller. But I'm hoping that once the rain kicks in, it'll start getting a little bigger, and we'll see how it comes out. I mean, even this like ice cream bean right here, not doing too hot, but I just have to keep watering up. I thought the soil was a little bit more moist than it was, but I was wrong. Got these daikon radishes in here, and actually you kind of see this one's actually flowering. I'm gonna let it just go to seed because it doesn't look like I have a very big radish from this one. I think it's the soil at the time I planted it, but I got a pretty big radish there. So I'll just collect the seeds from that and probably harvest the rest of them. Let's see, black sapote, just starting to push out some new growth. It's still getting established there. I mean, everything on this hill is kind of having a hard time. I figured it would be a little better, but they really need a little bit of help. So I'm hoping that by piling up a lot of these leaves and just adding like compost over time, it'll make the soil a bit more rich. Here's this little directly sown red jabo that I put in the ground here, and it's still alive. I don't water it or anything. It doesn't look great, but it's growing super slow. One of these days it'll take off, I swear. It's like a year and a half old, I think. 2 years old, something like that. I got this wampy in the ground too. It's looking a little chlorotic. So I threw some citrus fertilizer down, but before I did that, I noticed that it finally had some new growth popping out. So that's pretty cool. So finally got established, I guess, and it's gonna make a lot of fruit for us this year, right? What else? Ooh, I don't know where this branch came from. Let's see, sugar apple still isn't waking up. But, there's a ice cream bean there. I did have some flowers on my passion vine on the side of the house, but I'm not seeing any. Actually, there's one right there. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. Let me. Yeah, right there. Right there. There we go. So we'll just wait on that one to drop off, right? The squirrels definitely won't get it. Yeah, so I'm hoping that eventually that passion vine will just take this whole canopy over and just rain passion fruit down on us during the summer. But let's see. I think that's pretty much it over here. I mean, the jackfruit seedling that I directly sowed there is still alive. It's not doing great. No flowers on the lemon guava. This pup that I took from my Amwas over here, still existing. I've been stealing the neighbors' leaves that they've been putting out for trash to pick up and throwing them in the yard. There's a dove up there freaking out. Actually, there's 3 doves up there. Hold on, let's do a little zoom again. Where are they at? Yeah, you see them? Look at them. Judgmental little things, aren't they? Yeah. Anyways, got a long on seedling that I planted in the ground there. I can't remember if I showed that off before, but just I don't know what type of long on it was. I just got some seeds from my mom, some fruit she was eating. Here's the other pomelo seedling. Looks pretty good. Growing very slowly though. Let's see, what are we at? 24 minutes? Yeah, we'll make this a quick one, a quick 30-minute video. Let's do the last kind of trek over here. So here's my biggest lemon drop mangosteen, picking up some new growth. Looks good. Looking better and better every single year. There's a little bit of bug damage on the new growth, but that's fine. As long as it's green and growing, I'm okay with it. Hopefully we'll get some flowers in a couple of years. If not next year, it'll be pretty cool. The Embays are doing pretty good. Oh, here's my peanut butter fruit. I don't know if I've shown this one before, but it's doing all right. Oh yeah, my Broncamel Plinia Ariana, still chugging along. Yeah, here's the Embays. See a new growth on this guy. Nope. Got some popping out on this one. This little one here, pushing out. This other one over here that I thought was dead is still alive, barely. I'm hoping that we'll see a new branch pop out soon. That Sanford Jabo seedling that is just growing like a rocket is doing fantastic. Didn't really get sunburnt any more than that one leaf. The red here doing good. Squirrels are stealing my strawberries. This is the passion fruit flower that bloomed over here. I hand pollinated it, so we'll definitely get a fruit off that. There's a couple more flowers actually popping up here, and actually once I get the fruit off of this vine, I'll chop that back and we'll clear all this out, because I don't want it taking over everything, but I do want fruit off it. I think I have some rogue avocados growing back here. I know I've thought I had avocados growing before, but they ended up being camphor. This is looking more like an avocado to me. We'll let it grow up a little bit more and see. I don't think I want it right there though, so I'll probably have to cull those. But I put some ginger root in the ground here, and this is popping up too, which is kind of cool. Just didn't do anything for it. Just crossed my fingers and hoped. Let's see. These mangosteens are still chugging along. These are the seashore ones that are potted. They're getting a little burnt up in the sun though, interestingly. Must be pretty intense. I'm not sure why, because they were already acclimated to it, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Maybe they got a little dry, probably cold damage plus sun damage over time. This one actually looks okay. So, but this is the one that was more exposed to the cold, so maybe it's a combo of cold and sun damage, but who knows. This little wax jambu looking a little burnt up too, but that could also be combo wombo, heat and cold, sun and cold. Here's my little Burkhartiana Eugenias, looking fantastic. I brought the one out here that was in a pot, put next to this because it's covered in pests, and I'm hoping the wasps will come and clean those off. But let's see, this June plum completely defoliated and started growing again, so which is fine. It was getting a little top heavy, and I'm preferring it to be kind of below, at least most of the weight below the fence, because if we get another hurricane, it's just gonna fall again. And when the soil here gets soft, it'll just like fall. But anyways, here's a red that looks good. My Pitanga tuba over here is flowering. We had one flower already. I haven't got a fruit off this one yet. This is cold damage, but yes, we got a lot of flowers, a lot of new growth. It's looking pretty good. I anticipate that because I planted my other Pitanga tuba over there, once they start flowering at the same time, it'll be fine. But let's see. And here's my strawberry guava seedling. I think it's about 3 years old now. So 3 years from seed, we're getting tons and tons of flowers. So I'm sure we'll get a fruit or two, full of worms, of course, lots of protein. We'll try and make that not happen, but can't protect them all. Let's see, do we have any flowers on this Pitanga tuba? I do see some new growth there. Yeah, there's probably a couple flowers. I mean, that kind of looks like flowers to me right here. So I hope we'll get some cross-pollination there and get some more fruit this year. Yeah, oh yeah, here's some flowers. 100% down there. Yeah, Cherry of the Rio already flowered heavily. It's got tons and tons of fruit set on it. So hopefully they all hold and we'll get a big bowl full. The seedling mango in the front yard here. This is from a a turpentine mango seedling. So I'll be grafting sweet tart on that. So, what was that? 1, 2, 3 little nodes of growth. That'll be perfect. But this pomegranate, if we get flowers on it this year, it'll be in probably 2 months, I want to say, a month or two. So it got completely knocked over in the hurricane. I was worried about it, but it seems to have not cared. So I was worried that it had died because it lost all its leaves, but it turns out they're deciduous too. So this Grimmel is looking great. There's going to be a whole bunch of new growth popping out of it on top of what I already did. This is the best it's ever looked. So this jackfruit here, looking pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, my peach tree is looking nice. We only got like 10 peaches on it though this year. It had a lot of fruit set, but I think I probably should have watered it. I think it dropped a lot of fruit because it was pretty dry, and that was my mistake. But the plum tree here is making up for that. So we got tons of fruit set all on this plum. They're really tiny right now, but yeah. Let's see. Orchids are blooming all over my tree. But these directly sown reds, and they're looking fantastic. So it's like pretty much full shade all the time, and they're doing pretty nice. Although I'm gonna have to pull out these succulents because they're taking over. All right, let's close this off. We're at 32 minutes. The Ruby Supreme guava here is, we got a couple of spring fruits, so hopefully they don't have worms in them. But I might not get to try or find out if the squirrels get them first. But oh yeah, this Grimmichoma, no flowers this year. It did flower last year, but I think it's just, I put it in the ground. It's just working on growing. But let's see, ice cream bean growing. They knocked this tree down, which is providing a little bit of shade. So my directly sown Chavos here are getting a little burnt up. We'll see if they survive that. It might shock them enough to where they don't come back, but that's fine. I got a million of them. Let's see. We got our Julie mango in my little native flower garden here. There's a couple fruit set. I think I'm just gonna let them sit on this tree because I don't want this tree to get huge. I know it's kind of small. I mean, it's pretty small to hold fruit, but we'll just see what happens. I'm not too attached to it. I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna call it now before it becomes a 45-minute video, but probably just upload this unedited. But before I do that, let's take a peek at some of these finger limes. We'll call it a day. Look at that. Yeah. But anyways, if you made it through the whole video, thanks for watching the whole thing. If you skipped around, I don't blame you. And thanks for watching.